Is online learning distance education? What do you think? Well, this is actually a trick question. Some distance education strategies can be online, and some online learning strategies can be at a distance. But not all distance education is online, and not all online learning is at a distance. And this is important. When the COVID pandemic started, Mexico had quite a journey with distance education. But not all of the initiatives that had happened related to distance education were online. So when COVID happened, we found that we had a poor infrastructure and very limited digital literacy. Even if we had some initiatives and programs related to this. Nowadays, we have the Educational Digital Agenda, which aims to improve 5 different areas: teacher training, digital culture, digital educational resources, connectivity and infrastructure, and research and innovation. So while we are not there yet, we still have a way to go. We have a lot of room for improvement. We are taking the steps to improve distance education in the country. So, at the beginning of this series of videos, I told you that in 1921, 85% of the population in Mexico was illiterate. And after this, we had all this journey trying to train teachers to help people in Mexico learn how to read and write. Nowadays, the population in Mexico is a bit more than 126 million. So what percentage of the population in Mexico do you think is illiterate today? 4.7. So we moved in about 100 years from 85% to less than 5%. This is progress. So some final thoughts. Are you familiar with PISA? It is the Program for International Student Assessment. It is a program that assesses students' outcomes in different areas, like reading and maths and science. Where do you think that Mexico stands? Average? Below average? Above average? So we're actually way below average. So here you can see in the orange line the average for the OECD countries, 23 countries. And here in the blue line, you can see where Mexico stands and where it has stand through time for about 20 years. And our results are consistently below average in reading, maths, and science. And for comparison, where do you think the UK stands in PISA? Above average, below average, average? So this is the answer. So you can see that it's average, above average. It's about average, well, currently above average in terms of reading, a bit above average in terms of maths, above average in terms of science. So the big question here is this a fair comparison? So before I started learning about the evolution of distance education in Mexico, and before I learned that in 1921, 85% of the population were illiterate, I would only see PISA results, and I would think like, oh no, education in Mexico is terrible. And it is in the sense that we don't meet the same standard as other developed countries. But then again, Mexico is considered the most developed of developing countries, but it's not really a developed country. And for reference, the first university in the UK was founded in the year 1096. So that's 1,000 years ago. In Mexico, we started paying attention to this 100 years ago. So check the comparison. When you start your university 1,000 years ago, it means that you have had 1,000 years to experiment with education, to make mistakes, to fix them, to do something new, to decide that that doesn't work and try again. You have 1,000 years of trial and error. You have 1,000 years of improvements. In Mexico, we have not had that. So are our results bad in terms of other countries? They are. But is it a fair comparison? I don't know. So it actually made me feel better about my country. I think that for 100 years, we've made huge progress. And now the big question is, what does the future of distance education hold? And I'm excited to think about the possibilities. I think that in Mexico at the moment, we still have lots of problems and challenges related to infrastructure and digital literacy, but we also have like pockets of really good practice of innovation. And it's exciting to think where we'll get to. So thank you so much for listening to this series of videos. And just that's my Twitter handle in case you want to contact me for anything, you want to share your thoughts or questions or ideas. So see you next time.